I don't even know. I don't even know. All right, fellowship, we are live on the internet. We are going to start with an opening hymn. This is our very first Luminary Council, which probably the name will change. We change things. We're a church that grows. But glad to have everybody here with us. Let's start with a hymn. Let's have ladies' choice. Jules and Nikki, what hymn do you want to start with?
You got one, Jules?
No, I don't have any.
How about the like horror one?
Yeah. All right. That's good. See, that's the way to do it. Nikki takes charge. This is the alpha.
Well, you have till the end to decide, Jules.
Let's see here. Like. All right, let's do it.
Like Korah, I was lost and alone. Like Korah, cast far from home. Like Korah, they stole my voice. Like Korah, left without a choice. But unlike Korah, I can speak again. Unlike Korah, I have a friend. In my darkest hour, my hope was renewed. Because unlike Korah, I had you. Like Korah, no guardian angels flew. Like Korah, shamed by those I never knew. At no God's command, my own footprints remain in this sand. But unlike Korah, I can speak again. Unlike Korah, I have a friend. In my darkest hour, my hope was renewed. Because unlike Korah, I had you. Like Korah, you helped me to see. Like Korah, you lit the path for me. Because of you, I'm not without a home. Because of you, I'll never walk alone.
All right, all right. That's one of my favorites. Of course, I say that about all of them because I made all of them. Hey, welcome. We got Jules Treasures here, who's a luminary with the Church of Korah, and we have Nikki, who is also a luminary. Still working on how the ordination process goes for that, but we're going as fast as we can. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Good.
Cool. So, point of this council is for me to freak out about how overwhelmed I am with all the things to do, and rely on people who are so kind as to volunteer to help us build the Church of Korihor with their free labor. Sorry about that. If I had money, I'd give it to you. So I wanted to give some updates, some really cool things, though. We are making some progress, and a lot of it's on the website, which is what I am mainly working on. If people go to korihor.org, which, like you see here, it's either here or here, you'll see that there's a new layout for the mobile site that looks a lot different now. You have three main buttons. So say one that says donate, one says join us, and one that says volunteer. People who said they wanted to know how can they volunteer or how can they join and become a contributor a lot easier. Well, now it's that middle button right there at the top of the website. And then from there, we also have, I've cleaned up the website a lot. Now, instead of saying the Church of Korihor on every single page, because, I mean, you're not going to forget where you are. It just has the sigil at the top. That still does work to bring you back to the home page if you need to for any reason. And, of course, the little hamburger up in the upper right-hand corner is now expanding. I'm going to be pushing live here our canon tab soon so that people can read our scripture that's being canonized right now. And so it's all coming together. But probably my favorite feature is right here on the I'm going to figure out a way to do this on my computer so it's easier to see. But you'll see that there are these three buttons down at the bottom of the screen. And the one on the far left will say overview. That is to go to our new meditation series here, our guided meditations for overview. Which we will be posting on there as they get finished. I have one finished for the pale blue dot. We're going to be releasing more. And as we release more, we'll post them there. And then each time we post one, there will be a button here that says, there's a button already here that says discussion. You tap on that, and it will take you over to our community tab, which is over here on the right where it says missions. It's still a little bit slow, so we're gonna speed that up here in a minute. But when you tap missions, this is really a great demonstration. There we go. It'll take you to the tab with all of our groups, all of our missions, so that you can go and engage with all of your fellow Korihors. We're going to be figuring that out as we go. There's also a button on there right now to go to Godless Sermons. We're going to see how long we keep that up there. If people really like this, you can go through and you can scroll through our Godless Sermons and watch them all. So that's the idea so far. Anyways, how are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Right.
So I had an idea, a couple ideas to run past you. One, okay, so we're talking about luminaries. How can luminaries who are our basic level of ordained clergy in the church can do their work more efficiently? How can we get more of them? How can we better serve them? Because as I've been saying to our other heralds, Jenny Gage, our main job is going to be serving the luminaries. And the luminaries are mainly going to serve their local communities. So we need to make sure that we have the resources for luminaries. Part of that is going to be just training people on what does a luminary do and how do you do it. Right? So, and that is part of what we have to kind of figure out. One of the things I've been thinking about when it comes to that is event. Well, let's start with this one. I'm going to start out of order. One thing that we've been working on, Nikki has been helping us out with, is bookkeeping. And Jules, you had questions about this as well, which is
Right.
how do luminaries receive things like cash payments, and how do they give tax receipts and so forth? And then how do we log that in our system? Like if somebody receives money and they deposit it directly into their bank account, and so, like, how do they log it? How do they track it, and so forth? I can give a good answer when it comes to, well, if it's for a church event and all of the money is coming into the church's coffers at some point anyways, well, then we'll just take all the payments through our payment processors that the church has set up on the website, and through Wix payments and so forth. But when it comes to the missions themselves, I don't know. That's a good question. So I'm mainly curious to. So we're looking, Nikki. You were going to set us up with. You were saying we should get set up with QuickBooks or Quicken.
Yeah,
that right?
QuickBooks Online is probably our best since we're all in different locations, and then we'll just set up separate buckets. And same with the donation receipts. We want to have like the mission, the year, like the state and all that stuff, and then sign off who collected that money. And if it's like online, obviously we'll come through, a form that is already dedicated for those certain funds, so that if it is for, Rapture out in New Mexico, or if it's just for general funds or whatever, then those donation receipts will be uniquely numbered with our 501c3 details and a donation letter and a receipt. So kind of like, thanks, here's the proof of why we're a 501c3, here's our mission, we appreciate you, that type of stuff. And then have like an actual number. So like if Jules, if you're running a mission and you're the leader, we'll get you the blank copy and then you just increase those numbers.
Right.
And then it will be a reference number in QuickBooks, and we'll have a log sheet so that you know what number we're on, right, for that mission. And so that we all can be on the same page in case there is something that comes in online, or I take something on behalf of that mission or whatever, then you see kind of what number and sequence we're in. So we're not double assigning numbers.
So I guess the main question is going to be, is that something every luminary is going to have to know, or is that something we're just going to have one person in each mission knowing?
Yeah, the leader, whomever is helping lead and manage. And so like if somebody collected funds, then yeah, they need to know like where to send that receipt, how to give that receipt, or we'll have to pre-date the receipts if it's cash. Again, we don't need to give a donation receipt if it's coming through the website, because we'll just send that from us electronically. We'll just return that electronically as well. So I think just the leaders would need to know and be able to train if you're out in an event or, a surrounding area.
Would it make sense for us to get one person who volunteers at first, at least, to just be the bookkeeper for everybody? Or should it be something we institutionalize from the beginning and say every mission needs to have at least one person that volunteers for their mission?
I think we're pretty good, because like we'll know, like, if I'm doing the electronic side, and then Jules, you can just, communicate with me directly and we can get it sent out and taken care of. We just need to know who it's for, how much, and where to send it. Unless we'll get you some pre-dedicated, receipts that you can start handing out. And then you just tell me, I gave it to this for this amount,
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think a good idea might be for, like, as we're doing things like this, I mean, if it's like a standard operating procedure that you're like, if it's like a knowledge-based type of thing, just to hop into the community tab on corahor.org, make a detailed description of it that people can be referred to, so that when we get the same question over and over and over and over and over again, and you just say, look, it's all there. You just go and you just read the thing. Or, if it comes down to it, we're going to post videos on there. It's like, look, watch this. Here, I'm going to do it. And then you show them how to do it. Right. Something like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yep.
All right, let's plan on that then. Post in missions tab. SOPs. Okay. Not SOPs.
And I've started the corporate process, and then we'll just kind of put only the bullet points for the missions tab on Corahor.
Oh, cool. Do you need anything from me to get that, to finish getting the QuickBooks?
I think we need to have a consistent email address, that if I was sick or on vacation, maybe one day, that somebody could jump in and, do the corporate process, the church's process,
You mean one for everything church related that isn't contacted Corahor?
It can be contacted Corahor at this time. I don't necessarily feel like we need separate ones specifically, But I think once as it grows, we might want a missions one or a donations one or something, or a luminary
Okay.
type one. hmm
All right.
Whichever's
Sounds good.
easiest for you. But if we just had that, then we can organize it and be effective communicators, right?
Right. Maybe we just go ahead and start one right away. That's just luminaries at Korahor.
Right. Are you sticking with that with luminaries?
That's it so far. I mean, I didn't get any
Good.
bad feedback on it. So if nobody dislikes it, then we'll do it. One thing that Jules and I, or no, sorry, Jules. One thing that Jenny and I had started. There's too many J names already, and we're gonna have to start a new name.
Jewel.
I have to start a new name, Sacrament, just to be able to keep our J name straight.
Right.
Jenny has started to refer to herself with her network as Pastor Jenny, and I said that's cool. I mean, we don't have any pastors in the order.
Right.
Order. Hello, Claudia, welcome. But it's like but I was wondering about that because I keep batting that idea around. Like, do we need titles? Because like I'm content to just have people call me Joe, but there is something to people just having the conveying the same level of authority to us as they use for other clergy in the God churches. Do you think that there's some sense in luminaries having titles?
I think luminary is good. Maybe a luminary leader, if you wanted to do somebody who is overseeing a specific mission, and just so people know that maybe they've been trained more extensively. What do you think, Jules?
Yeah, I think, something that'll, separate them, that, knowing that they're the lead luminary or anything like that.
Okay. Should they be more of the one logic would seem to say whatever the God churches use, we should also use, just so that it just equates quicker and easy and people just know exactly what you're saying, like pastor or something like that. My dislike for pastor for me is just my personal thing, because pastor technically means shepherd, right? And that's a very Christian thing. And I don't like thinking of the fellowship as sheep. That's Jesus' thing, and like that's cool. And we ended on my telling Jenny, if you like to call yourself Pastor Jenny, we'll call you that. And that's fine. But as of now, the main thing I would probably lean towards is something like that there should be titles that are referred to your main mission. Like for example, one of the luminary types that we've talked about is rhapsodist, somebody who sings and plays songs. Now, technically, they would be luminaries; they'd be ordained as luminaries, but they could have a title that's like rhapsodist, or that is like hymnist or bard or something like that. So it'd be an interesting thing. Like, I'm not really sure how that would go. You think that's amusing, Nikki?
I feel like we need to be fluid, in my opinion. And,
Yeah.
because like not saying that I'd be a luminary all the time, and then when it's my own, I'm luminary leader. Like if I'm a leader, then I can help and assist wherever as well. But like I wouldn't be the leader. I get what you're saying for that mission, maybe. But still, people will understand that I can be approached as well. If Jules is unavailable or whatever, they can be like, oh, Nikki's a leader as well. Maybe not on this mission, but, she might have some answers of how to do this, So I don't love, because I feel like the missions are going to be evolving and coming and going, what I mean? Ending, starting, like promotions, or like we're trying to hit Valentine's Day or whatever,
Yeah.
So I
I
don't
mean,
love assigning to a specific area.
yeah. Okay, so I'm getting then that rather than formalizing something rigid right now, we'll make it something fluid that people can use titles if that makes them more comfortable, and we'll come up with suggestions for what those titles are, and just not make it anything terribly rigid at this point.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because one, like you said, you don't want to make it too Christian-like, then you don't want to make it too even Mormon-like because
Right.
even if we've said brother and sister, it's we're going right back to where we were,
Right. That is my main concern. Yes. So,
Mhm.
so the way I said it with Jenny, I said, look, if Pastor Jenny sounds good, I don't think it
Mhm.
would fit me, and I'm a herald. So if people start calling me Pastor Joe, I guess I'd be okay with it, but I'd have to come around to being okay with it because that's just not me. But at the same time, I don't like the idea of people calling me Harold, and so it's like it's either Joe Rollins, first Herald, or it's just Joe. Yeah, I'm Joe. Let's just talk. So, so let's just plan on that for now. Being people can assign themselves title if they want to, and we'll just work with them individually on if it's like crazy. Okay, so that's good. Let me put that one off. Okay, so another similar related topic is event planning. Do either of you have experience with event planning systems or softwares? And if so, do they include Wix? The onboard system with Wix.
No, I've never used Wix really. Uh, Event planning, very little experience. I mean, help take care of big events. I've worked at SeaWorld plenty of time for 9 years. So
Oh, wow.
we would
I know.
have big, we would have big events and for corporates. So
Okay.
Yeah, we've done some shows with Wix that has linked to the event Tenny to get registrations of names and emails, mostly just for safety reasons. In some of our shows down here, knowing who's present, creating safe spaces.
Yeah.
So
And what's your experience with Wix? Because my feeling is that if we can use as much as we can use that's just native
Yeah.
to Wix, because we use it for everything else, would be good.
Yeah, it's fine. It did go. You can check people in and out, like they can register for tickets or RSVP or whatever, even if it's free tickets, So that's good. And then you can check them in and check them out if you need to. We mostly only checked them in, but just to know who was in our venue.
Now the question would be then, again, we're back at this question of, do we need to train one person in each mission to do that, or do we have a central person who manages the calendar? It's just like the events calendar person. Because I'll tell you why I'm saying this. As we're developing the sacraments, it's becoming clearer and clearer that we're going to need two versions of every sacrament. We're going to need one that people can just do on their own, and maybe do with like a luminary or a herald kind of remotely. And then we're going to need another version that you can do like as an event. And so like uncouplings, like some people want to do them by themselves. They don't want to have a big show of it. Whereas other people definitely want the show. It's definitely and it's going to be customized. Or when we do the chrysalis, and especially if we do when we start to do chosen family banquets, it's going to be a big to do. You're going to have to book a venue. You're going to have to have materials that are going to be there. You're going to have food. You're going to have somebody to sing. You're going to have to, have equipment, a PA system. So it's going to be, some people, it's going to be their whole mission probably is going to be just like officiating weddings and, funerals and things like that. And then there's going to be other people that it's like, this doesn't have anything to do with what I take blankets to people. That's it. I don't need to know any of this. So I guess I'm not sure how big, what makes this scalable? Is it to have one person, handling the invoicing and the event planning for multiple missions, or is it to say to each person who develops a mission, look, if you're going to launch a mission, we need you, if you're going to do any events at all, you need one person who has gone through our event training, our event planning training, who's going to make sure that all the invoicing is done right, that all of the materials are handled right, that the insurance is handled right, things like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that somebody has to be on the ground for an event in person, I mean, if you're doing an online event, that's different. Somebody, a main person can do that. But again, it's, having more people cross-trained is better, right? Especially if they've gone through the background check and they're already leaders. And, so I think that might be associated with that leader title, right? Is that you know how to pull up. I mean, like we could have one person help set up the mission, say, hey, this has been approved for this date, this time, so we know it's aware. And creating that mission is such a group effort. We don't want to leave somebody alone and be like, good luck, we hope it works for you. You know what I mean? We want to be able to say, hey, let us help you get some flyers or some social media posts or whatever you need, right? And but then you log in and you manage your registrations and your donation forms or whatever you need there. So I think that would come with leadership role for luminaries. What do you think, Jules? Does it seem too much?
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking is, yes, find a specific, hopefully we can find specific luminaries that have experience in something like this, because that can cross-train others rather than just, because it will be hard to have one luminary doing everything, that's why, like I'll go back, like I said, my experience at SeaWorld was that, yes, I worked park operations, but special events did the coordination of the events with any company.
Yeah. So it might be that we need to have training sessions ongoing, and it's like let's organize a mission. At the very least, you have to have somebody who's responsible for this, who's made a commitment to doing it. And then if we need to set up meetings where we bring on either somebody from who's done this before inside the Luminary organization to come and train everybody, then that. Or otherwise, we can just come to the companies that we're using their services, since we're paying for using their services anyway, and say, hey, can you give us a meeting where one of your onboarding team trains us on how to do this, right?
Right.
Does that make sense? Okay. Let's plan on that. Okay. Another thing, let's see here. Merchandising store and merchandising ideas is kind of Nikki and my baby for the last few weeks here. So we're going to have Nikki starting out doing a lot of our merchandising instead of Printify, which is a big change. But Printify, it's good, but and it worked. I liked it for Hellfire Agency, but that's because I was a one-man shop and I couldn't manage things myself. But Nikki already has all the equipment that we need to at least do some of the basics, and has her own graphic design team and everything. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, we have some preliminary designs here submitted.
Oh, cool. Great.
So, and I've been focusing on stickers right now just because they're fun. Everybody loves stickers. You can never have too many.
Yeah.
I want to work on stoles and what those logos and linens will look like. Shirts are fun and sweaters are fun, but it's hard because you have to, if you're in-house producing, you have to have so much quantity of inventory, like all the sizes, all the colors, all the styles, so that's a little harder. So that's kind of on my back burner of most, but I'm thinking church bags. Like canvas bags with some sands, and then magnets, keychains, pins, things like that. Maybe even hats. Hats are a little easier because you can get the adjustable sizing ones. So yeah, so we've definitely got some designs in the work already. So we'll package them up. I'll send them out for just kind of approval, photo shoots. That's where I lack. The specialty is with photography.
Oh, okay.
So, but like,
Do you
and then we can all get opinions on like the sticker quality or the sticker whatever, and keep just growing from there.
do you have somebody who can help with the photography and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping your household could help out.
Yeah, that's what I was about.
I mean,
That's what I was about to suggest. Is like you could just send it to me.
yeah,
I can
I'll
get that
just
done.
yeah, I'll probably mail it to, most of you just to kind of get a preliminary like review of what you're thinking and what you like. And so yeah, that would be good. I mean, I do have resources. It just, it's a little longer to get myself into the queue for those resources.
No, I mean photography is pretty quick and easy for me, so I can set that up real easy.
Yeah, you're really good at it. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Let's talk about okay, so one of the other things that we've been talking about doing is using the blog feature on the website. I want to be able to start doing press releases that we can just go straight to and that we can send to news outlets, each one with ideally a video, which will, I'm guessing, mainly be my responsibility for the time being, and some high resolution photographs. Because if it has video and photographs, it's more likely to get covered in the news. And earned media is the best for us. That's that easy, free advertising, right? So, but as it is now, that's kind of all on me to do everything. So I'm not asking either of you to volunteer to be the one, but if neither of you is the one, I need some ideas of who is the one who can be in charge of somebody who ideally has some experience with communications writing and knows how to use the Wix system. So if we don't have that now, then we need to say we don't have anybody like that now. We need to look for somebody.
I make up too much crap.
Okay.
But I mean, I know how I can post it. I can help with that. But the content creation, I use AI a lot.
Yeah, that's a good start, though. Right? I mean, honestly, AI gets it done, right? Hey, Kim, how's it going? Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we say I'll keep that with me for now, and then because everybody's gonna have their plates full here. But yeah, I'll manage that for the time being, and then eventually we're gonna keep it on our back on our minds that we're looking for somebody who can volunteer to handle church communications on a volunteer basis until we bring in.
How's it going?
Cool. Check it out. I'm getting people. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's just make a note here. Merchandising. Joe, until further notice. Okay. All right. Another thing that I've been thinking about doing is that I've been thinking for a while is that we kind of might. I think it would be good rather than just having all of our missions, because right now our missions are all very service based, and I love that, and I love working with the unsheltered, and that's been really good and healthy for me. And Jules, you're doing a great job with that. But I think that we're going to need to start doing some uncoupling events, some weddings, and funerals. And so, those are sacraments that people are already acquainted with, and people are already looking for atheist and godless officiants for things like that. So I've been thinking we could put together like a mission where even if somebody's already engaged with a mission over here, there's no reason why they can't be engaged with this mission over here. And we could have a mission that is, for example, just recruiting wedding officiants to become luminaries, atheist, agnostic luminaries, train them up on how we do weddings, which will be pretty fun and loosey-goosey and everything, and also train them up on how to do uncouplings, or maybe just tell them, look, learn how we do weddings. If somebody asks you to do an uncoupling, tell them you'll do it, and then we'll just train you on how to do it so that you know how to do it, and then we just kind of go like that. But if we were to do that, and then I was thinking we could do that and raise the funds however we choose to do that, either through grant writing or through, people pitching in a little bit, whatever we want to do for advertising. And then we advertise both for recruiting officiants, hey, if you've been thinking about becoming a wedding officiant in the state of whatever, join up with the Church of Korihor, and or actually advertising to people who are getting married and saying, well, if are you having a wedding, we can have an awesome, wedding with one of our wedding officiants, and then start managing through that mission. What do you think about that idea?
Fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I feel like when they reach out to us, we need to ask them those things too. Do you have a skill in, officiating weddings, and or would you like to have that skill? That's something we're willing to work with you on. And so then we know, even if they get to that point, they're like, okay, I can, there's all these options, of service, really.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that you, go ahead, Jules.
I was going to say it, but then we also have to look state by state who can officiate a wedding. Because, like when I was in Florida, a friend asked me if I knew someone that could marry them. And I went and did look at everything. And technically with my the Melchizedek priesthood and Aaronic priesthood certificates, you could.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's it's a state by state thing. Some states you have to be ordained as clergy, and even in the Mormon Church, for example, if you're a Melchizedek priesthood holder, basically you could do it just about anywhere. But then there are other states, like here in Utah, as long as somebody is officiating, they don't care. Ironically enough, in Utah of all places, it's like anybody can do it.
Of all places.
Right. Yeah, they kind of have a love-hate relationship with their own major religious establishment in the state, but so like Kim is saying here that she's ordained online to do marriages. See, that's the thing, is that there are these ministries out there that are just marriage ministries. So they they believe God wants everybody to get married, so they have a whole little business of ordaining people. And
they're
usually, go ahead.
I actually went online before marrying this couple, and just in case they asked for any certificate, I also went through a church online and got ordained through there. It takes 10 seconds. You just plug your name and email in, and then all of a sudden, oh, you're now an ordained minister.
Yep.
It's like the Universalist Church or something like that.
Right. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking of, is that maybe we need something like that, basically, where it's like, look, we're not quite as easy as those hoes, but we're pretty easy. It's like, you don't have to join our church to become a luminary, but you do have to agree to our contract. You have to abide by our principles, which is that you don't preach gods, and you don't use our church venues and events for political organizing, so on and so forth. And then we tell them, look, you're going to become a contributor, because I have that whole pathway laid out now on the website. Maybe I should show people that. Did you see that already?
3 steps. I love that it's very simple, broken down into 3. Unfortunately, the birthday. Did you see my comment about that? The birthday wants a future birth date here. Doesn't accept on the form.
On the forum.
Yeah. So I
Gotcha.
can't sign up to be a luminary.
What's this girl on about right now? It's like, what's she talking about? I see. You're talking about the actual form. So now people, when they want to, you go to the website and you click on. Oh my gosh, it's loading fast. I love it.
Yeah.
If you click on luminaries. Oh man, I gotta change this URL. I gotta work on that. The Church of Corey. Who's Corey? A higher calling away to is a luminary reason until it explains the whole system for you, and then explains the 3-step process. You become a contributor. You apply to become a luminary once you're in the system, and pass a background check, and then you complete the luminary onboarding symposium and ordination. But the problem is, of course, we don't know what that looks like yet. So it all sounds good in theory, but we at least can get people into the point where they can come on board as a contributor to start that process. But then the question, of course, becomes, what is that onboarding symposium? How fast do we need to put that together? And who's going to put it together? Which at this point, the question, that answer generally comes down to a great big, got 2 thumbs, look just like these ones right here. But any kind of help I can get would be great. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, the thing that I've been thinking is, let's just use the forum, the community tab as much as possible. Just hop into the luminaries and say, this is a quick, process for, we're discussing how to do these things. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And if I ask you, hey, could you do us a favor and just go create a post on that? And then it's easy for you to go and just create a post. And then if we have to do something that is a little more formalized, well, then I'll just take that content as it formalizes and we'll create a page under the Sacraments tab. And it'll just be like, this is how you do this, until we figure out what, or the courses tab. It may be that we're going to have to wind up with like a course on how to do this. So what do you guys think so far?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, sounds good. Have we figured out anything on background checks?
No,
I was looking at a couple of online places. The background checks, I feel like, are not as detailed as the fingerprinting checks, because they're 2 separate processes, right? So no, I've been looking into it, but so it's more so the fingerprinting check, process that's
because like I said, I know fingerprinting I've done over at UPS store. I know it's usually a commonplace.
Right. And I just did mine here through a private place here too. So I'm sure we can, figure out that process so that we can submit a form saying, hey, this is who's asking for it and why. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think as far as the logistic, go ahead, Jules. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, a lot of times you can just go to a local sheriff's office also.
Yeah.
Right. But the main point being that not just that we have access to your fingerprints, the main thing is that you're basically giving it to law enforcement, right? I mean, that's the most important thing. And so you're putting it into the database so that, if we do, the thing is, the Mormon Church is getting struck right now with another scandal out of Oregon. I'm sure you guys have already seen. Another series of cover-ups about bishops and kids. And so the thing is, it's easy to say, oh, if you have the spirit of discernment, you'll be able to figure out what. We don't claim to have a spirit of discernment. They're going to be assholes. And the reason why these assholes get away with these things is because they're crafty, these assholes. They're good at sneaking through and getting to what they want. And so we have to filter out as many as we can. But then the other side of it is we got to burn some people going out the door. It's like, so it turns out this guy's a jerk. He does terrible things and we have nothing to do with him. We're sorry he ever had anything to do with us. And we've handed him over to law enforcement. This is why we get everybody fingerprinted and we just cast them off. You know,
Mhm.
I think that's the main way that we're going to distinguish ourselves from these traditional churches. Is it's like, look, we go into it knowing we're going to have some that slip through the cracks. We do our due diligence to prevent the ones who come through, and then as soon as we find out somebody is, not somebody is, a creep, we get rid of them, and we have the system for helping law enforcement track them down. So that's the main idea.
Right.
So I'm thinking, logistically speaking, the best way to do it would be that a herald has to interview everybody after they, fill out the application, rather than having them, submit the background check with the application. We just talk to them face to face and say, look, we think you might be a good applicant. Before we can go to the next step, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go and get the fingerprinting done. I need you to go to one of these websites, fill out the background check, and submit it. And it may seem stupid in the moment because most churches don't do this, but we're not like most churches. We're different. So, and then we just handle it that way. Is that a good way to handle it until we can figure out a way to automate it?
Most definitely.
I kind of set up the process like the request or the application form, then the screening of it. Hey, this is what it takes. This is what you're, signing up for, if you will, right? And then after that's all vetted and done, then the welcome introduction, and then the training, and then just the ongoing recognition and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so in the moment, we're just planning on it being fluid, flexible, and basically the herald who interviews the applicant is the one to make sure to convey to them, look, we need you to get this done, and then send us proof that it's been done. And then we just handle it on a one-by-one case until we can figure out a better way to automate it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Let me just make that note here. Heralds to handle individually when interviewing applicants. Okay. Luminary contracts. Another thing that I've been thinking about doing that we might need to do is that there are going to be situations where people are going to need to use the fact that they are a luminary. If they do this full time, they're going to need to be able to have proof of income. I'm not really sure what instances those are off the top of my head. I just know that they exist, right? Like somebody applies for insurance or is trying to buy a car or something, I guess, or something. So I'm just thinking we might go through some employment contracts that are used with clergy that are mainly volunteers and see how is this normally done. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's a thing,
That's
huh?
a good idea. Mm-hmm. Good.
I don't know what it looks like, but okay.
I don't either. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting point that Kim's bringing up here in the comments says, with background checks, a full check will include military offenses. State checks don't do that. Do you know much about that? Jules, you have some experience with military, right? I mean,
I wasn't in the military, but I have to get employed with the federal government. Yeah. It's it was multiple pages, and you have to get you have to get a lot of references. So even transferring from here to here from Florida, it was I had to get 3 references that I've worked with, any references that I worked with, but not at the VA, and 3 references that are just friends. It's multiple, and then you have to admit to if you have any offenses within either within the community or military. Because one of the things they will ask for, if they are militaries, look for their DD 214, which is a Department of Defense form, which tells them detail by detail of what went on during the military.
Is that just internally used there at their inside Department of Defense resources, or is that something like potential employers can ask for and get access to?
I believe employers could. I don't think any other employers would really ask for it unless they give what they call veterans preference, because usually they'll have to show that they were a veteran. Because if not, you're going to get all the people that are going to, do what they call stolen valor. Say, "Oh, I was a veteran," and then they don't have their DD 214.
Right.
But then the DD 214 is, would be asked for.
I guess my main question then is that if somebody, let's say, was dishonorably discharged because of something really, really frightening, really like something violent behavior or something, that we need to be forewarned about before we ordain the person, would an ordinary background check come up with that? Would it show on their ordinary background check?
I don't know if it'll come out in an ordinary. I don't think it'll come out in an ordinary.
Yeah, Kim, if you know, please let me know. Yeah.
I really don't think so. Because I know someone that got a less than honorable discharge, and she got it because she was stripping while she was in the Navy, and it's never popped up on any of her background checks for work. So,
yeah. I mean, we'd like to think that we can, that a background check would cover everything, but it's like there's background. From what I understand, there's background checks and then there's background checks, because there are some that it'll cover all of your traffic offenses, I think, or something like that, but it won't cover like domestic violence situations or something like that. And it's like I'm not nearly as concerned about. Go ahead.
I had a friend, and he would do background checks. He was a private investigator, but he'd get you a packet this thick, and it linked me. It started with me and like my ex-wife and my stepson, and by the end of the packet, it was linking my stepson's father to my parents. So, but. That that's an extensive one.
Right. Yeah, let's hope we don't have to hire a private investigator to check out everybody. But I think it'd be good for us to figure out, how, is there one system that's really better than that's pretty good mainstream? It's like, this one is the one that employers use that will do things like check, do they have military history, and if so, are there any red flags there? So I could use a volunteer to say that they're going to look into that.
Well,
I know
services. I'll look into these services and then let's compare them and see, because I know since I've done a lot of work with children, through the years, for nonprofits and schools and things like that. Like I've done several. So I'm just looking at the last one I did here. So we'll see. Yeah. Because I know that I actually just did my fingerprints for a different situation. And they're like, have you done your fingerprints recently? And I'm like, in Arizona, but now I'm in Utah. And they're like, well, it will probably still come up. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. Like, so they entered me into the system and pulled what they had, so that's good.
I thought that, because I thought that the usual common practice was if you get fingerprinted, they put you into the federal database. Isn't that the idea?
I think so. Mine was in there. So, and that was a different state, but so, I don't know.
And work does mine at work, and that mine's definitely in a federal database.
Yeah.
But there's some that will go like worldwide, really, some of them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'll put together like some of the services I've seen that I've used with different organizations, and let's see what they offer and go from there.
Okay, because I mean, I'm not above. I mean, I'm not beyond saying, well, look, let's just start, processing an application fee when people apply, and then just say we'll just do the background checks ourselves. But I really would rather not have that responsibility with every single applicant, especially if you have people who've already done their own background check to submit to. It's like if you just go and submit your own, I'd rather not take your money for you to apply to volunteer with us. I just hate the idea of having to take money from people for that purpose. So, but if we have to, we have to. But I mean, I do think that it's important for us to do this, to do our due diligence on new applicants.
Yeah.
Okay. Good plan. So Nikki, you'll look into that for me and let me know.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a few already started to see. So.
Okay.
I'm taking notes as well.
Okay. Okay. Cool. We are really pouring through this.
Good.
Questions regarding sacraments. Do you guys have questions regarding any of the sacraments as we've been putting them together, or any thoughts as you've been thinking about when you start doing officiating sacraments, if you even think about that?
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for them to be done.
Yeah. I mean, it's a learning process. Like you said, we'll mess up, but we'll learn from that.
Yeah, I think this Luminary one is the first one that I'm really digging into and excited to kind of see how it truly looks, right? Because I think that knowledge is going to be such wealth, right?
You mean in terms of the ordination process, the luminary path?
Cool. Right.
Cool. Welcome, Stephen. Yeah, that sounds good. I know that Jenny is very excited to start doing uncoupling ceremonies. She already has people champing at the bit to do uncouplings, both as individuals and as couples. So she and I are going to work really hard on creating the page on the website that describes how to do that, and then updating it as we actually do them, and then filming them so that we have them to send to new people and post, on social media to say, did you know that there's a church that doesn't just do weddings but also does divorces? So people can celebrate their, that transition. I would love to see us starting to do chrysalis events and have somebody taking that on to say, so that's not just me driving it. As this whole conversation started with me and Jules way back in the day, if I'm in charge of transition events, they're going to be bad because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, I come up with some pretty decent ideas, I think, but Jules is going to come up with better ones. And then as we bring on more trans people, and we do more of these chrysalis events, we're going to learn what are good ways and what are bad ways of doing things that we wouldn't otherwise know, except for just dive into it and do it. Right. So how are you feeling about that, Jules? I mean, are you excited about the possibility of officiating chrysalis events?
Yeah, I think it would be good. One thing I can do is go down to the resource center here in New Mexico, for Transgender Resource Center, and probably go see what they would think. Maybe put the word out.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, we went through a list the other night and we kind of identified some people that we, that came to mind as just reaching out to share their story even, or what, what resources they might have that people are reaching out to them, saying, hey, this is where I'm at, in my authentic living journey,
Yeah. Yeah, one thing, I mean, like if you guys want to get your brains percolating, I mean, I'm sure you've already thought of things like this, but like some of my bigger concerns are things like venues, like where are we going to do these things when we do them? Because we don't have churches, yet. But I mean, there are venues that we can rent to do events. I would hate for most of our events to be running out of like the conference room of a Sheraton, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? But like there are wedding venues that could be, multi-purposed for these kinds of things, right? And stuff like that. Or, if it came down to it, we could use parks, or there are some churches that are like non-denominational churches that will, allow you to use their space. So, I mean, those are kinds of things that we're going to have to think about. Like, and I can't help but wonder if it won't be like a local thing. That's like, rather than us trying to solve this problem for the whole world, Jules goes out and finds out how they're going to be done in Albuquerque. Nikki figures out how they're going to be done in St. George. I'll figure out, and then you guys tell me how they're going to be done generally, and I can put together resources up here in Salt Lake or Utah County. And so, if we can get the process nailed down officially, more or less officially on the website, then we can just start recruiting people who want to do them in local areas, and then just set up individual missions. It's like, okay, yeah, this, because I'm thinking what we might do is to set up congregational missions, right? Where it's like, this is the, Washington County ceremony mission. And it's like everybody who's doing weddings, doing funerals, doing maybe specialized Sunday sermons, anything like that. Boom, this is the mission where those are being organized. And then same with Albuquerque, same with, Los Angeles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, what do you guys think about that idea?
Yeah, I think that local is the best. I mean, I think a lot of people will know their safe spots, their safe zones, and safe places, like whether it be a coffee shop and doing it, before they open, an hour before, or, like you said, like at a park or a venue, or even if somebody has like a backyard that they, are a safe space. And so, yeah, I think that each area probably will have a feel of a place that would be good, but if not, we'll research it up, right?
Right. So, and the other thing though is that like, how do we schedule it? Namely, we could set it up with Wix event scheduler and then just like keep a central calendar on the website.
Right.
But as far as, people having in their heads and in their plans, everything, my instinct would be to say, let's add a Facebook events, side of it. It's like, okay, you program it here and that's also on Facebook events. But the problem is right now, so many people are bailing on Meta just because of Mark Zuckerberg being a dick. Which is not new. It's just newly understood, So I mean, I can't help but wonder do we need to start planning to train people on using Eventbrite or like, event software like that? Do we want it to be that rigid to say, okay, this is the process. You're going to make an event, post it here, or, what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's really going to be a case-by-case process. There might not be somebody who wants to have a whole event of it. They want it to be very intimate and personal and just, so that's going to be case by case.
Gotcha.
So I don't necessarily think a whole system for just that. Now, like with everything, once you start adding it up, maybe, but not just for that,
Yeah. Okay. Good thought.
And other ways of looking at venues, it can be individualistic because certain people live in certain communities that can't have a venue too. Many planned communities nowadays will have a venue that you can use. So we can look at that. I've been looking at, like you have, Joe, at if there's churches for sale here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. think I've seen two, but I don't know what's going on with Community of Christ because they also have a building here. So
yeah. I mean, it's up in the air. They're not saying anything publicly right now that I know of, but
Anything either, yeah.
It's been people I know in that system, in that community, who've been telling me, the rumors are strong, but that's all they are. Okay. That is everything I have except for, I'm thinking about, we might need to invest in a StreamYard account for teams. There's a team, like this is my account, that is just for individuals, which I'm happy to use for our events. But I need something, but I'm thinking that if Jules, for example, we're talking about you're launching, maybe doing some more events, a mission where we're doing events where you interview trans people and have meetings with people, outreach to within the trans community, where we have trans people talking to trans people, not, where I'm not involved at all, so you don't, but I mean, of course, the way our account is set up here, if I'm not logged in, no, nobody can use it. Right. So it'd be easier, I think, on everybody if we had like a team account. So that's mostly just kind of like saying, I think we're going to wind up doing this more than anything else.
Right. Do you know the cost of that?
I don't, but I will here in a minute.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
But I mean, so far it does seem like StreamYard has been working for us, right? I mean, there's no reason to dick around.
I used StreamYard before. Coming here on Richard Core 4, and I mean, the only issue I'm having with it right now is like, because I have an account on it, but what's happening is, I don't know if I blocked something or in the cookies or what. So when I open it up, it'll go to the main page where you go to StreamYard.com, and then when I go to log in, it comes up a white blank screen. So,
oh man,
yeah.
That's not great.
Yeah, even when I get right now I'm streaming from my phone. So.
Oh really? Oh, it might be a browser issue. You might need to update your browser.
Well, yeah, I work off of Google. I have a Google Chrome box. So I've been trying to. I used to have a Chromebook, so I bought the box now, and I really like it. But that's my operating system, but it used to work great. I don't know if I adjusted some setting or what, because I like StreamYard.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I mean,
you want me to give you the number for their help center? Figure that out, girl.
Get it to me, Nikki.
No, hold on. I didn't have it pulled up. I just was asking. You got a little chat box there. Account and log in. Oh, but you know how to do that. Hold on. I'll text it to you.
Yeah, that sounds
okay.
Good. That
sounds good.
Like a good plan. That's a good plan.
Yeah.
Okay, cool beans. So another thing I've been thinking about, this is on my list as well, and is chat features. I think that we're getting a lot of traffic that people come in, they check it out, they have basic questions, and I just haven't anticipated them or placed an FAQ in the right place for them. We might want to start looking into having a chat bot on the website that just has access to a basic database of information about the church, can answer basic questions about who we are, what do we do, things like that. They're usually pretty affordable, like somewhere in the ballpark. Like I think they usually have a free version, and then like as you add more info, they can get up to like $15-20 a month or something like that. But it can be really useful to be able to have some, to have like a help button that people can click on when they find out about the church, and they're like, okay, answer me these questions, like blah 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 blah. And then if the chat bot can answer it, it does. And if it's like, I can't, I'm not getting what I want out of you, then it can kick up to somebody else, to a live person. But then we would need to have somebody on chat.
Well,
if
and
you
you could forward it to submit a ticket, if it's outside of certain hours, and then have it go
correct.
to that contact email or whatever you're doing. If the bot's not up, is that something that's built into Wix? Do you know?
So usually Wix has some plugins that we can use for that. I've used it before, and it's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and we
No,
can. That's a good idea. We could just do a ticketing system.
Like,
Right. And
like
and
that.
if somebody
yeah,
can't log in, take a shift or whatever, then so be it. And maybe we do it around right before, you go live on Wednesdays and Sundays or something. You know what I mean? And take a couple, but then we check the email every day or whatever.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah, I think a good place to start will be to do it just as a chat bot for now, and then do a ticketing system. I like that idea. That's a really
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, it's
That makes
very,
it a lot easier.
and as long as you communicate to them, hey, we check this daily, give us 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever your standard is, just so they know what to expect from you, right?
Right. How many
Good
times? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have to sign up for like the newsletter, that's the other thing that I'm not even ready to even get into that yet. But we definitely are going to need like a regular newsletter. So,
Well, I
but
think
no.
that you have a lot of contents in your streams, and I went through and I indexed all of your videos you've done and who's on, and so I have a whole list of everything that's published so far, and
Oh, cool.
kind of the link and like who was on there, and what type of was it a hymn release, was it what was it, and so that if we need to share that, we can be like, oh, here's a link, and we don't have to go find it, we just got it. And I think that if we just take key points from those lives, those sermons, recorded, that's a newsletter right there,
Mhm.
So if
Yeah,
you're,
no, I think it's
especially if you're
great.
just doing monthly, we could do like a recap of the month before. These were the highlights, and these are the full links,
Mhm. I love it. I love it.
And I think we can do that fairly quickly, whether it be like a blog post as well, the newsletter. That's
Oh
an
yeah.
option.
And we can also post events that happened or will be coming up.
Yep. Yep.
That's a
Just
good
kind
idea.
of do a what we've done, what we're doing, where we're at, how you can help, or a form link to the forms or whatever. So
So in that regard, it does seem to make sense then to have like an events calendar on the website. That's just like that way when we send out, a blog post, and because if we do that and then we instead of a newsletter, really what we're doing is a blog post, and then every person who subscribed to the website will get an update that, hey, there's a new blog post. But really what it is a press release with video, images, and any event calendar updates and links to an event calendar. Does that make sense?
right.
Yeah,
Right.
that totally makes sense.
I think like as you get new merch and things like that too, it might be worthwhile to kind of have a blog post, or not blog post,
That's
a
true.
newsletter, more like
Okay.
one-on-one, like, hey, you subscribe to this specific. I mean, they'll subscribe, opt in, of course, on the other stuff too, but on the blog post. But so yeah, but some kind of, like you said, a notification system, right? Saying it's Wednesday, because sometimes I forget when it's Wednesday. So I appreciate you sending me links all the time.
Yeah.
Twice a week. Okay,
Yeah.
so newsletter / blog notification.
I mean, like I just barely started the Facebook page for the church, and it's growing, at a fairly steady pace. But now it's like almost everybody I know is talking about, I'm going to bail off of Facebook, and it's like, oh, sheesh. This was like we just started getting going on this, so yeah.
Right, and that's definitely get like email addresses and stuff for when they do sign up to participate with donations or whatever, just so we have that form of communication at minimum, right? Send
Right.
receipts, donation receipts, and things like that.
Absolutely. I love that idea. Claudio is asking in the comments here, are we able to see analytics? We are able to see analytics on our system. We are a
Yeah.
little church that doesn't do a lot of advertising, but we do have visitors every day. So we range between, to answer your question, we range between at lowest point about 4 visitors a day up to 27 visitors a day, which for a little organization that doesn't advertise except on it's saying on our YouTube appearances, everybody go to the website. Oh, not bad, not bad. So yeah, so I have Tessa's mentioning Blue Sky. I started a Blue Sky account for me. I don't know if I'm going to have time or to handle like a Blue Sky account. We really need somebody who just handles social media.
Right, the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like another thing on my plate that I'm just like I do this, but it's a lot. So at some point we're going to have somebody who does that for us, even if it's just like a few hours a week. Cool beans. Just getting caught up on the comments. Well, do you have anything that you guys need from me? Anything that I can do to serve you guys better?
No, I think Nikki and I had a very good discussion the other day.
Right.
Well,
And I have a little
yeah.
more now content text for Luminary. So I think we should go more specifically on those processes and kind of hash it out. And then maybe we can present it, so that we can get a sign off on that. Because I think that that's the next step in my mind, How about with Jenny? Are you guys going to do like a meeting like this, or is that not set up yet, or you just
so as far as Herald Symposiums, mainly just whenever Jenny says, "Hey, I got a minute, can you talk?" and then we do. We talk. But she had wanted to be here for this one, but that's when we thought we were going to do it tomorrow. She has a beau to spend Valentine's with, and so she couldn't make it here tonight.
Okay.
But she plans to be in on some of these meetings, and to as often as possible. There will be instances. That's another reason why we need really a team StreamYard account, so that she can log in and as her and just carry on doing StreamYard, doing streams without me having to be there, which would be nice. I mean, not that I don't love all your faces, and I don't love not that I don't love to show my face out there, but this is like my 5th broadcast this week so far. So yeah,
right. That's what.
And it'll be good. I don't want to say any names, but there's a big evangelical preacher. Used to be a big preacher, a big deal in the evangelical world that Jenny's been talking to about doing our Sunday sermon. He is extremely sick right now, and so we don't think he'll probably make it for this week. But there's a possibility we're going to start bringing in some pretty big fish. One of them is an ex-Mormon who is a household name, and I won't say him, but I mean, Jenny's just been starting that conversation. But I don't know if you guys know this, but Jenny's got like millions of people that she reaches on her Substack and on her YouTube, between her Substack and her YouTube and her TikTok. So there's some big deals out there, and I'm hoping we're gonna start attracting some more attention. And so I just want to make sure that we're not like, I'm not afraid to run. I hate this phrase. I'm not afraid to run fast and break things. But we have to be able to break in a way that, like, if we get covered on the news some point in the next month, that, the website's not going to go down and we're not going to lose our YouTube account. We're not going to lose everything, So we need to be able to handle growth here in a big way. I think we're several steps closer this week now that the contributor membership thing is set up, and now that we got a little more, we got more services available on the website. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to break. But I'm also excited to see if maybe by accident we actually succeed at some things, or maybe do some things really well. So
I think you'll be surprised.
I'm not sure what to make of that.
I think it's going to be good.
Oh, okay. Good.
Okay.
All right. So I think that'll pretty much do us. I mean, if you guys feel good about how things are going, I'm glad you guys are just able to have phone calls without me and just like inform me of it later after the event. The more we can do that, the better.
Right. That's good. All right.
At that, Nikki, I did get at least one person that will live stream with us.
Let's do it. I want that calendar Joe's talking about, and let's just book them. Right.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Just so we know who's coming up, and people can show support, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
that's exciting.
Cool beans. Well, shall we wrap it up? Because I mean, we've been going for an hour and a half, and I think we got to everything on my wild agenda. I mean, I'm shocked at how much we were able to cover in an hour and a half.
Good job.
Yeah. So I'm happy about it. I feel much less overwhelmed now.
Oh, good.
So, all right. Shall we do Ladies' Choice again of a closing hymn?
Yeah, it's
sure.
Jules.
How about I sent you the picture the other day, Joe? So we just have to do it.
Oh.
Okay.
What is it?
That's it.
Surprise.
The other day I sent him someone gave me a cupcake at work.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah, I love it.
I think it's appropriate. I sent him the second. I think I sent him the second picture where I actually licked it.
Yeah, I saw that one too. It's half gone.
I picked up JoJo from ABA therapy today, and his therapist said, "Oh, for Valentine's Day, we gave them all cupcakes. JoJo just licked the frosting off of his," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Took everything for me to not ask. The person who gave them a cupcake, were they a Mormon? Do I have to have a talk with him?
I have a song for him. Better yet.
Hey, Joe, I've got one of my subs here that says they like the art behind you.
Oh, thank you. Them's my paintings.
Yeah, I love them.
Daughter of Alderaan. That one's untitled. That one's Crow. And then Social off in the corner there. And then a whole bunch of half destroyed art. So yeah, I mean my canvases if they do not perform. I'm mean to them. All right, well, let's have a little lick my cupcake. I want to thank Jules Treasures, also known as Jules Del Sol, and Nikki Smithson, our luminaries. This has been a great first council, and thanks you guys for spending Valentine's Day with me and being my Valentines.
Hey, happy Valentine's.
No problem. Anytime. Happy Valentine's.
Gum stuck to my shoe, heavy petting in the neon hue, cracked vase on the kitchen floor. I get what I want, then I want more. Is a quiz. Hair teased high like a wild storm. In your arms I feel so warm. Lick my cupcake, sweet sensation. It's a sugar-coated invitation. Don't you know it's such a sin when you don't dig in? tights and a leather jacket. Got a secret, can